This is the result of Joe Biden's open border policy, what our country has been plagued with. But from the second Donald Trump took office, he said he is going to make America safe. He shut down our borders. That's why you're seeing so many arrests so fast, because we will not have another Laken Riley. We are going to catch them, we are going to apprehend them, and they are not going to like where they are going.
Yes, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States of America. There was a raid, a law enforcement raid in Northern Virginia where a top MS13 leader was arrested. He just wants his welfare. He just wants U.S. taxpayer dollars and, kill a bunch of people. And the Democrats, they're on the side of the Mara Salvatrucha MS13 gang, a terrorist organization, Salvadoran immigrants. And the Democrats, they want more crime. They want more foreign gangs. They want more terrorist-loving, genocidal anti-Semites. They call themselves liberals, but they're not. And they'll tell you one thing, they enjoy speaking out of both sides of their mouths at the same time. Very, very common. But we have that going for us. Now, a very good Thursday to you, and welcome back once again. We continue to be reachable at 888-630-9625. The New York Post has the story, and the Washington Post doesn't because they're not in the news business at the Washington Post. Their slogan is, "It looks like a newspaper, but it's not." The headline in the New York Post, top MS13 leader, described as the worst of the worst, arrested. Where was he arrested, though, Mike? It was along the border, the southern border. Was he in Texas, Arizona? No. No, he was arrested in Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. U.S. authorities arrested an illegal immigrant. The Democrats stop you right there and yell at you and throw a firebomb at your Tesla, saying no person is illegal. No, well, these people certainly do a lot of illegal things, don't they? So U.S. authorities arrested an illegal migrant and top MS13 leader for the East Coast. They've broken it down into regions. The Democrats helped them. And one of the top 3 MS13 leaders in the entire country in a major Trump-backed operation in Virginia that nabbed, listen now, more than 340 criminals in the past month alone. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced, "This is what happens when you let good cops be cops." Actually, FBI Director Kash Patel told a press conference. They already had a press conference this morning in Virginia because is Virginia a border state, Michael? Is that bordering the drug cartels in merry old Mexico? I'm trying to figure that out. Isn't that amazing? So the arrest of the suspected terrorist, a 24-year-old illegal alien from El Salvador, and a raid near Dale City in Prince William County on Thursday morning. That's this morning. Now, Prince William County is a beautiful area in Virginia, rolling real estate, just a wonderful part of the country. And the Democrats are murdering the country, county by county, state by state, city by city. They are not on our side. Now let me go to some audio on this because this was, and also it should be noted that Kristi Noem, Secretary Kristi Noem, was in. She may be gone now. El Salvador. The Democrats called El Salvador, like Nicaragua. They like to use a little fake accent when they use certain words and all that stuff. But Kristi Noem, it was kind of an amazing moment when she was in the prison in El Salvador with all the gang members behind her in a jail cell where they're covered with tattoos. They are identifiably gang tattoos. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem visits El Salvador prison where deported Venezuelans are held. CNN headline. CNN's on the side of the deported gang members covered with the gang tattoos from top to bottom. CBS News, too. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem visits El Salvador prison where deportees, they call them deportees, are held. They're not gang members. You can see on these guys are all shirtless in this jail cell. It looks like there's 100 of them in a big, it's not a jail cell for 2 or for 4, it's a big jail cell. And all of these gang members shirtless, covered with the identifiable gang tattoos behind them. And Kristi Noem, I got to say, she was looking very lovely and was in a very dangerous location. I assume there were lots of armed men around her. It looks like they run a very tight prison operation there because they run a tight ship there. They give you a buzz cut when you walk in, kind of like the Marine Corps, but different. And she's there at the prison gates, and these guys with American personnel, and she is right there with all the prisoners. Kristi Noem, our Homeland Security Secretary in El Salvador.
I want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people. And
and that's because now we're enforcing the law, and that really throws a wrinkle into the Democrat Party's whole thing. Now, this morning in Virginia, we had a press conference with the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, who's lovely and wonderful, and she speaks well, too. And she was doing this press conference. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin was there because he's not in favor of crime and gangs. The FBI Director, Kash Patel, was there. Now, let me get to this because this is Virginia. Again, it's not the U.S.-Mexico border. It's a beautiful area of the country and of Virginia, and I've been there many, many times, my best girl and I, and it's, boy, what a nice place to live, Prince William County. Isn't that great? But the Democrats have made sure that every place is infected with foreign gangs, the kind of gangs that have armies of guys with AK-47s that hang a dozen people upside down from bridges by their knees after they kidnap them and murder them and stuff. And Democrats are like, we need to be more like that because we've had it too good all these years in the United States. It's time we put an end to colonialism. This is the Democrat Party. Then they have these idiots from third world hellholes that become Democrat representatives in Maryland and say, the most patriotic thing you can do is pay more in taxes because Democrats. But let's get back to the arrests here because this is kind of a big deal. It means that somebody's enforcing the law, as little as the Democrat Party likes that because they don't like enforcing the law, do they? But here it is this morning in Virginia, Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the United States.
Early this morning, one of the top leaders of MS13 was apprehended. He was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia, living half an hour outside of Washington, D.C. He is an illegal alien from El Salvador, and he will not be living in our country much longer.
She said illegal alien. That made Democrats very angry. So they firebombed a Tesla dealership because that makes sense to them. Now, as I said, U.S. authorities arrested one of the top MS-13 guys in the country, and the Democrats are beside themselves. They're gonna want him released on $500 bail. I read you the story yesterday where it was at Massachusetts, around Boston. They arrested 2 serial child rapists who were illegal aliens, and they released them back on the street on $500 bond, so they could be free again to do what we already know they do. The Democrat Party is a mental illness. So the New York Post reporting a few details yet been given about the joint operation, which involved FBI, Immigration Customs Enforcement, ATF, that's alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives, the Virginia State Police, and the Prince William County Police Department. And they're a real police department, and they're wonderful. They're enforcing the law. If the Democrats don't throw themselves in front of trains to stop them, Pam Bondi, Attorney General.
America is safer today because of one of the top domestic terrorists in MS13. He is off the streets. This has been an ongoing directive of President Trump. His directive to me when I became Attorney General of the United States was very simple. Keep America safe. Make America safe again. And that's what these men and women have been doing tirelessly every single day since Donald Trump took office.
You know what they keep saying? If you let the police do their job, if you let ICE do their job, the Democrats obstruct law enforcement nationwide on behalf of MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. It done Laken Riley, murdered by an illegal alien from Venezuela. A nice woman whose name I should have right off the top of my head. Rachel Morin in Mother of Five in Maryland, not too far from this radio station. Out for a jog, getting healthy, mom of five, attacked, raped, murdered by an illegal alien that the Democrat Party arranged to be where he was because they're not on the side of civilization. They're the left. Governor Glenn Youngkin is a Republican, Commonwealth of Virginia. He was at the press conference today because he doesn't want more gang members in Virginia.
It's this effort that has been enabled by the Trump administration. President Trump said, get the bad guys. I've been working on this literally for the first 3 years of our administration with little to no help from the senior leadership in the federal government and the Biden administration.
The Trump law enforcement operation has arrested, under this one operation, more than 340 criminal illegal aliens just in the last month. 340. The Democrat Party will fight you hammer and claw to keep these people in the country and on the loose. The Democratic Party is not on our side. Sanctuary cities and sanctuary states these people are not on our side. Glenn Youngkin.
Local jurisdictions that claim sanctuary city status are absolutely unacceptable. Look who's in your community. Look who's living around the corner from citizens that are going to work, trying to build their lives in a place that's the best place in America to live and work and raise a family. And yet we have one of the top 3 operatives from the most dangerous gang in America and the world living around the corner, and you, sanctuary cities, want to give refuge to them. Listen, it's time for us to recognize that Virginia is not a sanctuary state. We are working to get the bad guys out of here. And if you are a local jurisdiction and not helping us and not cooperating with us, you are working against the safety of all of those men and women that call your jurisdiction home.
That is clearly a fact, Jack, and every single sanctuary politician is an elected Democrat, elected by voters that call themselves liberals. And what they do leads to more pollution, more murder, more foreign, non-English-speaking gangs. If you're going to be a gang member, at least speak English. We have an FBI director, a new FBI director. His name is Kash Patel. He, too, was at the Virginia press conference this morning.
This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And we're going to continue to let good cops be cops across this country. President Trump gave us the executive decision to go after and safeguard our communities. General Bondi is our warrior of justice leading that charge.
That is a fact, Jack. And if you want to get the bad guys, let the good guys do their work. Kash Patel.
This is not possible without the folks that do the job every single day. And as director of the FBI, it is a privilege to lead some of these brave men and women. And the only ask that I have of you in the community is the next time you see a cop, thank them. The next time you see someone safeguarding our schools, shake their hand. The next time you see our brave men and women of the FBI and the local and federal state police take down a violent terrorist, maybe give him a hug.
But wait till he's free after taking down the violent terrorist, because it's not the perfect time for the hug. Wait till the terrorist is in cuffs in the back of a vehicle and the police officer's free. Then give him a hug. But right while he's taking him, give it a minute there. I know that's what FBI Director Kash Patel meant to say. I just wanted to help clarify. Hey, are you one of these yo-yo dieters we hear so much about? You lose weight, then you gain it all back plus a few pounds, and then later you lose it again, and then you gain it back again and again. Well, breaking free of your yo-yo diet pattern is the main reason that doctors created Lean. Lean. from Brickhouse Nutrition as a supplement. That's not an injection or anything. You don't need a prescription from a doctor. The science behind Brickhouse Nutrition's lean is quite impressive. It's studied natural ingredients target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps to maintain healthy blood sugar levels. It helps to control appetite and cravings, and it helps to burn fat by converting that fat into energy. That's a good idea. Listen, if you're tired of losing weight, then gaining it back. If you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace, Lean was created for you. And let me get you started with 20% off when you enter PLANT20. PLANTE 20 at takelean.com. That's the code PLANT20 at takelean.com. The statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It is not a substitute or alternative for care from a healthcare provider. Yeah, so, that's good. But this is what the Democrats left the Trump administration with. Thousands and thousands, maybe tens of thousands of illegal alien gang members from Latin American countries and from all over the world. Drug traffickers, child sex traffickers, human smugglers. The Democrat Party created a tidal wave of that, and now the good guys have to try to fix it. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. And the news media, they're fixated on the Signal Gate, which led to no negative consequences at all, but that's what they're sexually obsessed with now. They're cross-dressing for a signal, these people. And we've got, wait till you hear the question that was asked of Pam Bondi at the press conference today. President Trump was asked the same question at the White House yesterday. Doesn't matter. It's like a nuclear bomb just went off in Chicago. And the news media asks in Washington, what about Signalgate? Let's grab a phone call. Let's go to Matt calling from Charleston, South Carolina. Matthew, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Yes, sir.
You haven't brought it up yet, but Kristi Noem going to El Salvador. Mm-hmm. How do you say it? El Salvador.
Salvador. El Salvador.
You say it so much better than I can. My wife and I were watching evening news, and I won't say who, but it wasn't NBC and it wasn't CBS. So you pick your thing. But we're sitting there watching it, making dinner.
You noticed she was looking much too attractive to be standing in front of that jail cell full of tattooed gang members.
Absolutely.
Un terrible. Yeah, top MS13 leader. He's the East Coast chieftain. He votes Democrat. Democrats give him a driver's license, and there's a crazy story today about all the illegal aliens and all the welfare that they're on across the country because of Democrats. Pretty amazing stuff. And President Trump with more. We've got, and this is stirring up a bit of trouble today, tariffs on various countries. But we've got, it turns out, lots of illegal aliens use lots of public services. Turns out that cost per year for public assistance for non-citizens, the Center for Immigration Studies has found that we, the American taxpayer, generous as we are forking over $42 billion a year. $42 billion a year for non-citizens, overwhelmingly tens of millions of illegal aliens waved into the country by Joe Biden and the Democrats, for public assistance programs. Gosh, we're generous. We've got to work harder. We've got to pay our fair share because illegal alien gang members, they want our money. Aren't they amazing? Now, let me go. We were just talking about the press conference being held. FBI, the Attorney General of the United States, the Governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, along with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, as I said. And then it gets time to do Q&A with reporters. And the reporters want to prove with every breath they take that they have a left-wing Democrat Party agenda front and center. They don't care what the news is. They don't care what the event is. They want to get Trump. So this is how the Q&A went.
The off-topic question. In terms of the Signals chat controversy that's going on,
what
is DOJ involved at this point? If so, why? If not, why not?
Well, first, it was sensitive information, not classified, and inadvertently released. And what we should be talking about is it was a very successful mission. Our world is now safer because of that mission. We're not going to comment any further on that. If you want to talk about classified information, talk about what was at Hillary Clinton's home that she was trying to bleach a bit. Talk about the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage that Hunter Biden had access to. This was not classified information. And we are very pleased with the results of that operation and that the entire world is safer because of it.
Well, now that's a perfectly good answer by Pam Bondi, but I think I might have said, and I'm not sure, but my voice recognition programming suggests maybe that was Pierre Thomas of ABC News. I hope that it wasn't, but it might have been. And I've got to say, that was your question. I might have, if I were Pam Bondi, I might have said, we're here talking about an important event. I know you have a political agenda to advance for the Democratic Party and your corrupt fake news organization, but I'm going to take questions about the MS13 gang arrests here in Virginia today because that's what happened. And you should have your press badge pulled for being a Democrat Party apparatchik, faking your way through life as a journalist. And coincidentally, when I saw that this morning, the corrupt news media doing their corrupt job to corruptly advance the cause of the Democrat Party instead of covering the news, well, we'll tell you what the news is. And President Trump yesterday at the White House, I was reminded when I heard that, President Trump at the White House yesterday was talking about all kinds of big stuff, signing executive orders. The reporters, so-called, get the opportunity to ask questions of the President of the United States, and they go immediately to the Democrat Party agenda, which is their phony, ginned-up story where this left-wing radical extremist who should be deported, Jeffrey Goldberg, found his way somehow, we still don't know how. Oh, no, Michael Waltz added him. No, that has not been explained. You're a guppy buying everything, hook, line, and sinker, all this bourgeois. Michael Waltz trying to not hang out a staffer to dry. And so he gave an answer that, as I said yesterday, I thought was too vague, but it's time to go back. Or, if you're Corinne Jean-Pierre, you circle back and explain the Democrat that was found to have hooked up the Atlantic and Jeffrey Goldberg to this text thread, because none of that makes any sense. But President Trump yesterday at the White House, and the fake news media being the communists, they're like Sandinistas. And President Trump is there talking about all kinds of big things, executive orders and tariffs and picking an economic fight with Canada and Mexico and beyond, and all these big things. But what do the fake reporters do?
Sir, also, what's your response to Republican lawmakers who have said today that your administration should take more accountability and not downplay what's happened with Signal that we've seen in these messages today?
Well, I don't know about downplaying. The press upplays it. I think it's all a witch hunt. Here we are talking about some of the greatest business deals ever made. The greatest companies in the world are moving into the United States, and you want to ask about whether or not Signal works. I don't know that Signal works. I think Signal could be defective, to be honest with you. And I think that's what we have to, because you use Signal, and we use Signal, and everybody uses Signal, but it could be a defective platform, and we're going to have to find that out.
It could be a defective plan, and I've got to say, Trump rolled with it very well. He rolled with it perfectly. It was pretty great. And these people, the news media. Hi, I'd like to advance the agenda of my fake news organization and do my part for the Democratic Party today, which wants more MS13 gang members hiding under your daughter's bed, because that's who we are. Now, speaking of MS13 gang members hiding under your daughter's bed, another story this morning on the Fox News channel is covering it. Kansas, right in the middle of America, Kansas babysitter finds monster under child's bed. What's this? Man charged with aggravated kidnapping. What's this all about now? A man in Kansas was booked into jail on aggravated kidnapping and other charges after a child found him hiding underneath a bed in their home on Monday, police said. The Barton County Sheriff's Office said the incident happened around 10:30 p.m. at a home just outside of Great Bend, Kansas, when a babysitter, got a babysitter now, was putting children to bed when one child told the babysitter there was a monster under their bed. The nanny took a look under the bed, and you know what she found? A 27-year-old man curled up under the mattress. Not a family member or friend or a neighbor. No, it's Martin Villalobos Jr. Martin Villalobos Jr., 27 years old, was found underneath the bed and immediately began fighting with the babysitter, which led to the child being knocked over. Little child. Here's the mugshot of the guy, the Barton County Sheriff's Office. He looks like a member of MS13. When the victim attempted to show the child there was nothing under the bed, she came face to face with a male suspect who was hiding there. An altercation ensued with the babysitter. One child was knocked over in the struggle. The suspect then fled the scene before deputies arrived, the Barton County Sheriff's Office wrote on a Facebook post. Got a Facebook post, that way everybody can see it. Villalobos was able to flee the area before deputies arrived, but was caught on Tuesday after a foot pursuit. Democrats want to defund the police and make the police the bad guys. The Democrat Party is really the biggest problem that the planet is facing today, not just our country, but honestly, freedom-loving people on planet Earth. The scourge that must be eradicated is the Democratic Party. Villalobos was arrested on requested charges of aggravated battery, aggravated burglary, aggravated kidnapping, child endangerment, felony obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and violation of a protection from abuse order. So, wait a minute, he already had an order, protection from abuse order, and he violated the protection from abuse order. I need more explanation on that. The sheriff's office said Villalobos was booked into jail in lieu of $500,000 bond. You may recall yesterday I was telling you about the multiple child rapists, two of them who were illegal aliens in Massachusetts, and the Democrats let them both out on $500 bond, not $500,000 bond, because the Democrat Party is pro-gang member child sexual abuse, kidnapping, murder. The Democrat Party is they're not Democratic, and they're not liberals. They're the left. They are the left. Boy. And Pam Bondi is their MS-13. Well, but what about texting that a reporter became a part of? Because that's now called Textgate and Signalgate. Can't we get back to trying to tear down the Trump administration because they're Republicans and they're on our side and they're in favor of good things? Speaking of which, let's go to President Trump from yesterday. We got a soundbite number one. Now, President Trump was there, and again, he's talking about all kinds of stuff, good stuff, that he's doing as president. And as soon as the Democrats, the media, get a chance to ask him a question, they revert right to the agenda. The Atlantic magazine publishes transcript of Trump Teams Signal Chat. Front page above the fold, Washington Post today. That's our thing. President Trump, and this is all they want. This is all the rabid dogs of the news media. That's all they want. They have an agenda, and that's what they're here for. All right, so, Michael, soundbite number one, President Trump yesterday at the White House.
This is the beginning of Liberation Day in America. We're going to take back just some of the money that has been taken from us by people sitting behind this desk. We're going to charge countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe.
Friend and foe. What we're learning is that we cut all these trade deals with, and look, President Trump was in charge of getting rid of NAFTA in his first term as president and creating this USMCA, United States, Mexico, Canada trade agreement. And it was, according to all accounts, better than NAFTA was, which, by the way, was George W. Bush. And we're very generous with our friends and neighbors, Mexico and Canada. Then it ends up that we are the big loser in every trade deal that we've cut with friend and foe alike. Pretty amazing stuff, I've got to say. But President Trump is now taking a look at why do we have a trade deficit with Canada? Why can't we have an equal, friendly trade relationship with Canada, of all places? President Trump talking about saving the American taxpayer lots of money.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now. Right from the beginning, we're going to be at a very high number, right from the beginning.
And now there are these talks, these discussions going on today about Canada and trade. And also there were stories that popped yesterday that Canadian auto manufacturers are looking at cutting hundreds of jobs in the Canadian auto industry because of the trade imbalance that is being addressed by President Trump. And Canada has a new prime minister. That Trudeau guy, blackface Trudeau, he got the boot from his party. This parliamentary system is inferior to our system by far, much less stable. And that's why we have to protect all these parliamentary systems and fund them and have bad trade deals for us. The Canadian prime minister is now a white guy without blackface, as far as I know, named Mark Carney.
We will defend our workers. We'll defend our companies. We'll defend our country. And we'll defend it together. This will hurt us, but through this period, by being together, we will emerge stronger.
We will emerge stronger. Well, you're Canada. Don't get all caught up in all this. But President Trump is talking about the trade issues and tariffs, and I don't hear it and say, "Oh, yay, tariffs!" It's not my first reaction to anything like that. But this is kind of an interesting situation, and I tell you, and President Trump talking about doing something about it. And I've got to say that representative of the union, the United Auto Workers, not the United Auto Employees, but the United Auto Workers, he was on the television this morning talking about what President Trump is doing with the tariffs on, in particular, automobiles, and that is coming up. Yeah, President Trump looking at tariffs on automobiles, and the news media, they're just he could cure cancer. Remember when Joe Biden said he was going to have the cancer moonshot and cure cancer, then he didn't do a thing about it, and I think he got the Nobel Peace Prize or something, didn't he? But the President of the United States to impose 25% tariff on all imported vehicles and foreign-made auto parts. What is this? NBC is very angry about it. Foreign governments and car makers criticized the new import taxes, which drew threats of retaliation and pushed down auto stocks around the world. But then there was a Representative Brian Pennebaker of the of the United Auto Workers, and he was on the television this morning talking about it. Hey, what do you think about what President Trump is talking about, 25% tariffs on importing foreign autos?
I've watched plants close all around Detroit, in Detroit in particular, especially Chrysler, now Stellantis plants, and it's been devastating. So to hear an announcement like this that's going to force the auto companies to build their assembly plants in the United States instead of right across the border in Mexico is music to our ears. And we are so happy that President Trump is doing what he promised to do during his campaign.
Wait a minute, he's doing what he promised to do during his campaign? No Democrat has done that since John F. Kennedy was shot in the head by a communist. This is Brian Pennebaker with the United Auto Workers.
Matter of fact, Stellantis already announced since President Trump threatened these tariffs, they have fired their CEO, Carlos Tavares, and moved product back into the Belvidere, Illinois plant that they said they weren't sure they were ever going to put a product back in there. They were in a fight with the UAW. So he's already getting results from these tariffs, and we're looking forward to the next 3.5 years under President Trump. Thank God he's in office. I don't know where we'd be without him.
And now the news media will turn this into a negative story because they're going to side with Fiat or somebody. That's our news media. They're not on Team America, World Police. Let's take a quick phone call. We don't have a ton of time, but let's go to Tom calling from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thomas, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, long-time listener, first-time caller. Congressman Rob Whitman had a town hall yesterday that I listened in on, and like you say, these people that called in, people from Northern Virginia, Williamsburg, lots of liberals, Democrats, leftists, they kept calling and asking, well, where's the due process for the Trinidad immigrants that were shipped back? So they kept asking about that. Where was the due process? Where was the due process? So my question to ask these libtards is, where was the due process for Lincoln Riley? Where was the due process for Rachel Morin? So that should shut them up. I would highly recommend using that quote for anybody who asks such a question.
But here's the thing, Tom. You don't really think that would shut them up, do you?
No, it wouldn't.
Tragically,
it would make me happy to trigger them with that.
Well, that's true. Yeah, triggering them is always a pleasurable thing to do. Tom, thank you.